The name of this story is Ixchel and the Dragonflies. Long time ago, in the land of the wandering jaguar, the sacred deer, the magnificent quetzal bird, the ants who conquer, and the brave butterflies, beneath the jade mountain and alongside the turquoise sea. In the land of the Maya people, the moon was said to be the most beautiful of all the heavenly bodies. People would spend hours during clear nights just looking at Ixchel, the moon. But Ixchel, well, she had a busy agenda. She was in charge of watching over the tides of the ocean, steadily guiding the waters in and out. No one's timing was more reliable. She would also help sway over the poles of life: women, fertile cycle, and agriculture. And she would guide midwives, healers, and weavers. But her favorite pastime was traversing the cosmic streams, paddling in her canoe, and admiring the stars. Sometimes she would shine boldly. Other times she would partially wrap herself beneath her silken shawl. And other times she would completely wrap herself beneath her silken shawl so nobody would get to see, not even a sliver of her luminous cheek. And then, in silence, shh, she would glide across the Milky Way. In the meantime, the sun was secretly in love with her. Oh, he would watch her as much as he could. He would strain his ray lights trying to catch a glimpse of her. And sometimes she would slightly open her silken shawl so he would get to see her earlobe. And when he was lucky, he would get to see her shoulder. Oh, the harder he looked at her, the brighter she shone. And this waiting and watching and shining and flirting went on for eons, so the Maya say. In the land of the Maya, there are two seasons: the calm season and the storm season. And the storms were created by Storm Maker, whose name was Jack. Now, parenthesis here, it's not Jack. Not Jack and the Beanstalk, no. This is Jack with CH. If you get them confused, Jack will get really mad because he's a god. And Jack would get really bored during the calm season. And you know what happens when the gods get bored, right? They tend to gossip. So one day, feeling extremely bored, Jack decides to pay a visit to Ixchel's guardian, her grandfather. So he goes to the moon's palace while Ixchel is away. And he says, "Oh, grandfather, you're so tiny, I didn't even see you." Grandfather, you know that I see things everywhere. And just the other day, I saw a glint in the sun's eyes for Ixchel. Oh.
Jack. Well, I haven't seen anything different.
Not really. Well, to me, just to me, not that everybody's talking about this yet, but to me, it just seems as if the sun ray lights are like arrows of desire for Ixchel. Ugh. Well, when Jack left, Grandfather could not get that thought out of his mind. This was unthinkable. These two could not come together. Ixchel's domains was of the night, midwives, healers, and weavers, while the sun's domains was of the day and nourishing the crops. If these two were gonna come together, do you know what that is? Don't think hard. Scientific term. An eclipse. If an eclipse was going to happen, floods and darkness would come upon the earth. Oh, no. That couldn't happen. Well, in the meantime, Jack was bored to death. And this time, he felt like paying another visit to another fellow that lived on top of the Jade Mountain, Vulture. And so Jack said, "You know, Mr. Vulture, that I hear things everywhere. And just the other day, I heard that whoever gets to marry Ixchel will become the king of the skies." When Jack left, Vulture could not get that thought out of his mind. In these times, Vulture is not yet eaten rotten or dead meat, that is another story, but he was already eating rotten vegetables and well-matured fruits, which not exactly makes him a high-class bird, more so a low-class bird, and the whole thought of becoming the king of the skies was certainly an intriguing thought. Well, Vulture was a meek fellow, but he was quite persistent. After that, every morning before dawn, he began to fly up the skies to visit Ixchel and say something like, "You love the skies." I couldn't help to notice how radiantly you glowed through the clouds last night. Of course, these visits did not pass unseen to the sun, who grew really jealous. Well, the calm season was nearly over, and this time Jack felt like speeding things up. So he went back to the moon's palace while Ixchel was away to visit Grandfather. Oh, Grandfather, you're so tiny. I almost didn't see you. Grandfather. I bring stressful news. Everybody is talking, and they are saying that Vulture is planning to elude, run away with Ixchel, and to prevent that, the sun is planning to kidnap her. But I'm sure you're well aware of the situation, right?
Of course, Jack, of course. I am well aware of that situation, but I'm still trying to decide what to do.
Well, you know I like to brainstorm. And I have been storming some ideas. And so Jack went on telling Grandfather what he had been plotting. At the end, Jack and Grandfather stretch their hands and thank each other, especially grandfather thanked him and encouraged Jack to be brave on that heroic mission. Well, if the rumors of this love triangle were true or not, we really don't know because that happened a long time ago. But what we know is that Vulture and the sun moved towards Ixchel that dawn. As it had been their habit. But what was special about that day? Jack, the rain god, was poised upon the sea, ready to release the biggest storm ever seen. First, he brought down his clouds to darken the world. Second, he sent his fierce winds that went everywhere and told everybody that it was about time to find shelter. Third, came the thunderclaps. Tudum, tudum. They came with so much violence that they nearly jolted the morning star, Venus, out of his place in the skies. But the worst was about to come. Jack had ready his axes, and he began to toss the axes against the clouds. And when the axes were hitting the clouds, they were creating lightning bolts. And the lightning bolts began to strike the earth here and there, here and there. And one of those lightning bolts struck Ixchel. She sank into the waters of the ocean. And fearing for her life, she changed herself into a crab. And then she let herself go, thinking that she was going to be just fine. But she was wrong. Jack was so blinded by his own rage that the lightning bolts began to pierce the waters of the ocean, striking her here and there, here and there. Until calm came back, Jack reborn. Ixchel, lifeless body, was found floating on the waters of the ocean next to her canoe. To rescue the pieces of her lifeless body came 400 dragonflies, and they all picked up her lifeless body and gently placed her on her canoe. Then they all lifted up her canoe and brought her back to the moon's palace, to her grandfather. Mi niña, mi niña. Grandfather couldn't believe it. He couldn't help but to blame himself for what had happened to his granddaughter. If only he hadn't listened to Jack. For 13 days and 13 nights, grandfather grieved. For 13 days and 13 nights, the 400 dragonflies covered Ixchel and her canoe as if her canoe was her coffin. And they hummed, and they hummed, and they hummed. They hummed. On the 13th night, grandfather asked the dragonflies if they could take her to the cenotes, the entrances of the underworld, because it was about time to say goodbye. So in that very moment, the 400 dragonflies elevated themselves in the air and away from Ixchel.
Ay, mi niña. Mi niña. Mi niña. Mi niña. Mi niña. Mi niña.
But to grandfather's surprise, Ixchel rose up full of life. All those days and nights that the dragonflies had been humming, they were not grieving for her. They were not giving her a farewell. They were filling her up with their life force. Ixchel resumed her place in the skies as the moon goddess of the Maya. And she, of course, resumed her busy agenda and her flirting ways. As for what happened to Jack and Vulture, well, those are two different stories. But the Quiche Maya that tell this story will tell you too. Do not underestimate the power of a dragonfly. One is steadfast and strong, but 400, you all together can make miracles. If this story is not a lie, it's because it is the truth. So the Maya say. Thank you so much. With a thought, and it's that you are the dragonflies. You are the ones who can change our communities, and you can start with yourselves, healing yourselves. You can, when you smile to somebody, when you hug them, you make their day much better, and that's a start. We can always heal our communities and heal ourselves with all the wonderful things that the superior being gave us. So be the dragonflies. Thank you.